Needless to say, J.J. Watt gets it. And that all relates specifically to the DeAndre Hopkins trade. Because it's one thing if you lose games and the fans are booing, that's one thing. But when there's a broken public trust with a fan base and an organization, that's a disaster. And the Stars felt it. J.J. Watt felt it. Deshaun Watson felt it. And also, these guys, J.J. Watt, he wants to be out there winning championships for the fans of the Houston Texans. And 0-4, it's like I said in the Throwback Thursday, they should have been one of those teams without Tom Brady in the division or without Tom Brady in the conference thinking, all right, we're going to start winning. I mean, it's crazy to think that the Texans were that close to getting to the Super Bowl, up 24-0, and then bam, Billy O, fake punt, Kansas City. They blew it. What an absolute disaster that was. Just simply pathetic. Vintage Houston Texans. Then the report that Billy O was feuding with J.J. Watt in practice. Spoiler alerts. You're never going to win an argument with J.J. Watt in Houston. Vegas, Billy O. Bill O'Brien is wearing both hats right now. As a general manager and a coach. It's insane. I happen to like Billy O as a coach more than most. I think he's really good. This is just wacky. It doesn't translate. The fact that ownership didn't hire a GM after rightly firing Brian Gain, it's just terrible. Gain deserved to be canned. He also fouled up at the end of the day all these aforementioned moves and the Honey Badger negotiations, and he left the team. But you had to bring someone in. You can't just fire GM and choose not to replace him.
Look at what he did even as a coach. They're up 24-0 in Kansas City. The divisional round, that fake punt was horrendous. One of the worst calls I've ever seen by a head coach. Oh, and then he trades DeAndre Hopkins. Trades him to Arizona for David Johnson, who's been defunct for years, and a second-round pick. Minnesota got more for Stephon Diggs.
Billy O clueless. He traded the second-best receiver in the NFL. The Texans should have been a prime team in the conversation to win an AFC that no longer has Tom Brady. Instead, because of Bill O'Brien, they're a punchline. Oh, punchline, absolutely. And this was a harbinger of things to come as we throw it back on a Throwback Thursday to Billy O getting punched out in Houston. This had to happen. I forgot all about Honey Badger and how they fouled that up. And, you know, the shame of it is there was a period of time where Billy O was a good coach and overachieved with bad quarterbacks and was a good play caller and deserved credit. But he won that power struggle, and then he just lost all the good players, and it was a hot mess, and it was a disaster. And that Hopkins deal, they'll never, ever forgive him for it, nor should they. In Houston, the first and second round picks that he gave up in the Tunsil and Stills deal, it was just a horrendous deal and a grotesque overreaction. The Clowney deal was insane. Did I mention he traded DeAndre Hopkins for a second-round pick in David Johnson? Baggots, Billy O. We were light years ahead of the curve. Needless to say, Derek Carr is right. It's tough to call this a classic rivalry, even though you go back throughout history and it's old school. But in terms of a current rivalry, and I've talked to Derek Carr about what's on your screen on my SiriusXM radio show, yikes. Arrowhead has been an absolute hot mess. It's been a house of horrors. It has been just a terrible place for Carr and the Raiders. Vegas has Kansas City favored by 13 points. And this is a good Raider team. 13 points. And Vegas always knows and knows that Derek Carr has struggled mightily in Kansas City. How about this quote from a key member of the Dallas Cowboys defense that has captured everybody's attention? You see, here's the thing about Xavier Woods, who was on time to shine this year at the Super Bowl, and I really like him, and he's a great guy and a great player. He's right. And this is the entire point when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, as they get said, for the New York Football Giants on CBS this weekend. The defense is historically bad. but they can't do it with that many plays on the field and the offense running so fast. They need to deflate the football. They need Ezekiel Elliott to have the carries, the touches. I mean, we're looking at a career low in terms of rushing attempts and rushing yards in the first 4 weeks of a season. And this is the 5th year he's been in a league. I mean, this is crazy. You gotta feed Zeke. If you want to save the defense, you're not firing Mike Nolan. You know, Byron Jones, Jerry Jones bonched down in the offseason, not walking through that door. You know, DeMarcus Lawrence should be able to take advantage of this awful Giants offensive line and a Giants offense that is averaging a pathetic 11 points per game. But the key to fixing the defense, feed Zeke. I think Zeke's going to go well over 100 coming up this weekend on CBS. But wait. There's more. Anthony Lynn made it official. Justin Herbert will be the Chargers starting quarterback for the rest of the season, regardless of what happens in terms of health with regards to Tyrod Taylor. This was the right move. This was the only move. I feel terrible for Tyrod, but Justin Herbert has looked like a superstar, which we predicted. We've been saying on Time to Shine for years. The LA Chargers have their franchise quarterback, and if you're a Chargers fan, this really is as dreamy as it gets moving forward in Los Angeles. Finally, spread on tonight's Thursday night game, 3.5 points. Tampa favored in Chicago. I am rolling with Tampa Bay. Will Brinson has Tampa Bay. What could possibly go wrong? The Colts-Browns game is the best of the weekend. Oh, I love this. This is on CBS this weekend. Couple of teams. I'm telling you right now, what's not to love? I have both these squads making the playoffs. I think you have defensive studs all over the field. Myles Garrett is top 2 for Defensive Player of the Year. Love DeForest Buckner. Love Darius Leonard. And Baker Mayfield's going to have to be careful watching those guys all game long. I think that they're great offensive players. The Browns are coming in hot. Obviously, even without Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt can run the ball. Odell Beckham Jr., best stretch that he's had. Listen, both these teams are buttoned up. They're well coached. This is the best game of Week 5, and I can't wait for it. I'm pretty excited to watch the GOAT in primetime tonight. Tom Brady in Chicago with his Buccaneers taking on the Bears, and I expect Tom Brady to be brilliant tonight. And look, that might sound Captain Obvious, right? He's coming off of a performance against the Chargers where you saw him throw 5 touchdowns to 5 different receivers, but the injury report for the Buccaneers tonight is a bit of a mess. But I think we're at a stage with Tom Brady where you expect him to shine. The Bears defense is not what it was. And here's the bigger statement that I'm looking for from the Buccaneers. I really think that they are the most complete team in the NFC. I know they're 3-1, and you have a 4-0 Packer team and a 4-0 Seahawks team, but I love the front 7 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I give Todd Bowles a lot of credit, does an excellent job coaching them up. Levante David is an absolute stud. They have a great pass rush, and my guy Nicky Foles doesn't have a chance. I think that Nick Foles was brutal against a great Colts defense last week on CBS, and I don't think Nick Foles has a prayer tonight. Tom Brady, little revenge against Nicky Foles from the Super Bowl a few years ago. Hey, whatever gets the GOAT going, I expect Tom Brady to dominate, and I expect the Buccaneers to remind some people that playing in the home Super Bowl on CBS is not only possible, it's probable.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell for more videos.